Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Avery Weems Show, presented by Starnes Barber, where we cover everything on the field with the North Green Lady Huskies softball team. As always, joined here with head softball coach Avery Weems. Coach,
Tyler,
how's it going this week?
it's going good so far. So far, so good.
Got a good weekend last week. We talked about it on Good Friday. You went 4-0 to complete the 4-0 week that you wanted. We talked about the first half of it last week when we sat down on Wednesday. Let's talk about the back half real quick. You had Cloudland on Thursday here at home. You had Chucky Doak here on Good Friday at home. Picked up 2 run rule wins in that one, 13-2 over conference rival Cloudland, and then 18-8 over county rival Chucky Doak. Talk about how good it was to get those back-to-back wins at home to end the week and end the week undefeated.
Yeah, for sure. Cloudland was a real good win for us. It was probably the best game I think we've played all year. Hannah pitched good that game. Our defense was pretty solid behind her. I thought we had the best approaches we've had all year at the plate. Some real good at bats, and their pitchers. Their pitcher's good, and she has a tendency to, if you help her out swinging at bad pitches, she can really dominate you. And we struggled with that a little bit last year against them, but we talked to our girls about that before the game, and they didn't help her out any, and had some real good at bats and got some pitches they could hit and took advantage.
Looking at the stat lines too, you look at Hannah Brooks, another great game in the circle. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 8 strikeouts. I know she's your conference ace that you throw out there. You throw her out there in a big game like Cloudland where you're coming in 3-0 and you're able to boost that record to 4-0. How big was it for her going into the game, knowing that it's now her sophomore year? She's had that year of Cloudland under her belt where she's faced them 4 times. How big was it for her going in there and producing a performance like that?
It was really big. She's not afraid of the moment, and she knows that's a big game for us, and she delivered. And that's what we expect out of Hannah, and it was good to see her go out there and do what we expected her to, and I think what she expects of herself.
And then looking at some of the stats too, I think one player that popped out just because you had numbers all across the board. I think you had 4 players with 2 hits each in that game, but you had one, Maddie Phillips, who went 2 for 4, had 3 RBIs and 2 runs, and kind of led you in the stat sheet categories. How big of a day did she have at the plate when you played the Lady Highlanders?
A real big day, and Maddie's another upperclassman junior who's been around. She's played in those big conference games, and she knows what it takes to win those. She delivered at the plate, and she also caught that game. I think she caught a real good game. I think I made a comment about how I think that was the best game she had caught for us so far. This is her first year catching, so we were real pleased with that, the way it went with her behind the plate too.
And then another player that I had to mention, but I guess I'll use this to bridge into the next game too, because she had one in this game, and then she had one against Chucky Doak, and that was Kinley Eastep. She had the game-ending home run that allowed you to run rule them, and then the first at-bat of the next game against Chucky Doak, she hits a solo shot. So back-to-back at-bats with back-to-back home runs in that Chucky Doak game. You get down 3-0 in the top of the first. She gives you that spark to get a run across. She found 2 pitches she liked, drove both of them over the left field wall. How huge was that to come out of her in your leadoff spot?
It was real big. In that Cloudland game, we, I think, had been up. I can't remember if it was 10-1 or 9-0. We were up by 9 runs for a few innings there, and we couldn't push any more across the board to make it a run rule. And then I think there in the top of the 6th, Kinley hit a leadoff homer. Actually, it may have been a 2-run homer. I can't remember.
2-run, yeah.
Yeah, but to put us across the run rule there, so that was good to see that out of her. And Kinley's had a good year for us so far, and we've asked her to do different things. At times, she's been asked to bunt for hit. We actually asked her to do that pretty much all the time, but sometimes when she gets to swing the bat, she's delivered for us, and that was real good to see in that Cloudland game. And then the next day, like you said, against Chucky Doak, she led off the game with a home run. It's kind of funny. I was joking with that Chucky Doak staff as I was over there at third. I tried to bunt her to lead off the game against Chucky Doak. They were playing back, and she's just so fast that I think you're stupid if you don't try to take advantage of that. But I think she fouled off both bunt attempts. Then she got down 0-2, and then she was swinging 0-2, and she hit a home run. And I think their coaching staff looked at me and said, "Why were you bunting her?" And I said, I guess it makes me look stupid now that she hit a home run, but that's part of it.
Looking at the Chucky Doak game too, very odd start time, of course. I think the girls would say so also. It knocks everybody out of their rhythm playing at 1 o'clock on a school day when you're used to being in school. We're recording this at 125 right now. So some of them are used to being in lunch or being in fourth period, and it's odd to go out to the field and play a game at that time. So it threw them off of the rhythm a little bit. Second inning, you get a big 8-run second inning to throw you ahead 9-3. Never looked back after that. Got the 18-8 win. Overall, after the second inning, how good of a victory was it on Good Friday against Chucky Doak?
It was definitely a great victory. Anytime you can beat a county team, that just means a little more. And I'm trying to pull it up here, but I thought we got off to a slow start, I think, but after we kind of got the bats rolling there in the second inning, it was a good game for us. And in that first inning, I think they had a batter lead off the game with a home run, and then they pushed across, I think, 2 more. So they got on us early 3-0, and we just talked about wanting to answer that and score every inning. We did get one of them back there in the first, and then, like you said, the big second inning was huge for us to kind of take back control of the game. And then from there, it's always good to just, say it's not take the foot off the gas and continue to battle at the plate and try to push more runs across.
I think in the post-game interview we did, I talked about Heidi Trentham. We'll talk about her. 3 of 3, 3 runs, 4 RBIs, and a walk. She got on every time she stepped up to the plate, provided 4 big RBIs. How big was she out there in that, I think, 6th spot in the lineup?
Yeah, she was huge in that game. She had a great game at the plate, and like you were saying, she had 3 hits and drove in 4 runs for us. So that's just great production there out of her spot in the lineup. And she's had a good year for us so far. She stepped in and immediately been able to play as a freshman, and had some good at-bats and put together some good games for us.
And then something that you mentioned right after that when I mentioned Heidi is you mentioned below her in the 7, 8, and 9 spots. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of production out of them. You had Charlie Turnmeyer in the 7 spot. She went 1 of 4 with an RBI and a run. You had Jordan Marr in the 8 spot. She had an RBI and a run, and then you had Destiny Fillers in the 9 spot. She had a big double that provided a few RBIs, ended up with 3 RBIs total, went 1 of 2 with 1 run, and then Jordan Marr had a walk. So how big was it to have that production from your 6, 7, 8, 9 spots when you're used to having that load of production from the top of your lineup?
Yeah, it was excellent to see, and I think I was looking at the other day, I think we got a hit out of every spot in the lineup besides the 2 spot. And Lauren got on base for us, and she drove in a run. So it's not like she had a bad game. She just happened to hit it right at them, I think, whenever she did come up to the plate there that game. But it was real good to see, I guess, production all the way through the order. And that just makes you so much tougher whenever you've got that through not just the top of your order, but 6, 7, 8, 9. It makes you hard to beat. So that was really good to see. And like you said, Destiny had a good game, drove in 3 or 4 runs there. Destiny had a double, I think. She ripped down the third base line for some RBIs. And then she had, I think, a squeeze bunt there that we scored at least 1 on. I can't remember. We may have scored 2. I can't remember if that ball was thrown away or not. But Destiny was huge for us. Made some good plays in right field, too. She made one over near the right field line, I remember, where she called it in a full sprint, then called it, and her momentum took her over to the fence. But Destiny had a really good game.
And then you finished the week 4-0. You talked about, of course, how great it was to go undefeated because it was a tough week. You rest on Easter weekend. You come back in on Monday, and it doesn't get any easier. You've got South Green, who's undefeated in the District 1 2A conference, leading that conference and are the odds-on favorites to win it. And then you've got yourselves, who are undefeated, leading the District 1 1A conference. So you've got, I would say, the 2 best county teams playing. You beat them earlier in the year. They're trying to come in, or they're trying to host and have a little bit of revenge from how bad you beat them earlier in the year, and that wasn't the case. You win that game 9-2. Great showing by the Lady Huskies. What did it take to be able to pull out a 9-2 victory over the Lady Rebels?
Oh, it took all we had. We talked before the game about just making sure we were ready to play because South Green have been playing good. Like you said, they're undefeated in their conference, and they've had some good wins there recently. So we talked about making sure we were ready to play and come out of the gate, I guess, and have a good start. And we didn't have a good start. I think we were down 1-0. We were down 1-0, I think, into the 4th inning. And then I think in the 4th inning we finally pushed some runs across and I think scored 3. And then we got down, or I think we were up 3-1 for maybe a couple innings, and they scored another one to make it 3-2. So it was just a back-and-forth game there, and it was a close game the whole way out. In the top of the 7th, we got some real important insurance runs there to kind of give us a little breathing room. But like you said, South Green's a scrappy bunch. They're good. They've got good athletes all over the field, so that anytime you play them, you know you're going to have your hands full, especially out there at South Green. Yeah, I was really proud of our girls to get a good win there.
Looking at that 7th inning too, you go into the inning leading 4-2. You're not comfortable in a 4-2 ball game. You're never comfortable in a 4-2 ball game. What did it take to put up those 5 runs in the top of the 7th? What went into that inning?
Well, I'll just start from the top. Charlie Turnmeyer pitched that whole game for us, pitched a good game, and we had, I think he used her as a flex, so she wasn't in the lineup that game, even though she was pitching, and we decided to hit her in the 7th inning, and she led off the inning, I think, with I can't remember if she had a single or a double, but she got a base hit. I can't remember how she moved to second, but eventually somebody there after her, I guess, got a hit and scored her, and I'd have to pull up the play-by-play here. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I'll read it off here. Yeah, it looks like Charlie got a single, and then I think the next batter we tried to sacrifice and it didn't work out, but then Kinley walked, and then Charlie advanced to third, Kinley advanced to second on Lauren's walk, and then I think we had an infield pop, and then with 2 outs we had some big hits that we strung together. I think Hannah hit a double here, it looks like. Looks like she scored three. Yeah, all 3 runs, so a bases clearing double. That was awesome to see. I think Josie walked, Heidi walked, and then Kennedy Malone singled to score, it looks like 2 more, I think. Yeah, Kennedy Malone had a 2 RBI single to push 2 more across there. Then I think they threw out Heidi at third there to end that inning. But that was really good to get some insurance runs and kind of like you were saying, getting production all the way through the order. That was, I think, leading off that inning there. Charlie was hitting in maybe the 8 spot, looks like. Yeah, I think Charlie was hitting in the 8 spot, so it went 8-9-1 to start that inning, and it was just really good to see from the whole order there.
Incredible that you were able to score all 5 runs with 2 outs.
Yeah, and that's something that me and Dad talked about after the game. We had some poor at bats, and we talked to the girls about that. Just some poor at bats. We tried to bunt at times and just had some bad execution. Didn't get them down where we were trying to. Had some, I guess, some pop outs and just some bunts that we bunted straight back to the pitcher. Just stuff that we've worked on too much to not execute, but we ended up bailing ourselves out with some good 2-out hitting, and it's kind of funny what you can make up with just some clutch hits. But we know that we can't rely on that. You know, that's not going to be something that's going to happen every game. It's kind of it's not a fluke thing, but it's just not very consistent. So we know we've got to improve in some of those other areas too, because we're not going to get that same 2-out production.
We talked about Hannah Brooks's bases clearing 3 RBI double. That was huge to end up pushing you ahead by 5, and you end up winning that game by 7. But let's talk about Charlie Turnmeyer. She pitches the whole entire game. I think you had mentioned maybe the last interview or the interview before that you had been trying to get her some varsity experience. You get her some great experience against a great quality team like South Green. She pitched the whole entire game, only allowed 3 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 2. So it looked like her defense was doing well behind her, but she did well up there for 7 innings going into maybe against the best team that she's faced so far in that length of time. How big was it for her to have such a performance like that?
Oh, it was excellent to see, and like you were saying, the defense was good behind her, but Charlie did a good job trusting them, and she only had the 2 strikeouts and only gave up 3 hits, but we played solid defense behind her, and looking at her stat line there, I'm sure she would tell you, and I'll tell you too, she walked too many. I think she had 5 walks, but it was really good for her not to let that get to her. A lot of times when people get on base, she kind of bear down and got out of it, and that's what you love to see, some grittiness out of your pitcher to be able to bear down and get out of those jams.
A great environment for her to be in at such a young age too, because South Green's a tough place to play, and I think that dugout likes to get rowdy a lot of times whenever they do walk batters, whenever they do get on base. So it seems like in the moment she wasn't rattled.
No, she wasn't, and that's something that we like to see out of all of our girls, is just being a competitor, and I think that Charlie is a competitor. I think she gets out there and things aren't always going good. She's gonna work, try to get through it, and she's just a gamer. And like you were saying, she hadn't had a whole lot of varsity experience, so that was really good for her, and it was good to see her deliver. As a coach, whenever you throw your players into that type of moment, that type of game, and then they deliver, it just gives you that much more confidence in them.
And then you had one more game that was scheduled also, but the theme of every week is we always have one postponement to talk about, it seems. You had Chucky Doak on the road in Lower Athens yesterday, didn't get to play that game. Talk to us about the update on that one.
Yeah, we had some trouble yesterday with the weather, like you were saying, and we didn't get the game in. He had mentioned maybe doing it today. We try our best not to play on Wednesdays unless it's just an emergency situation. So we didn't get that in today, obviously, and we're going to try to avoid scheduling anything on Saturday. Just from we got some people traveling there with our team, so we don't want to schedule anything on Saturday. And then next week we've got games Monday and Tuesday. Monday is our senior night. Tuesday is our our last game in conference play. We go to Unaka. Thursday we've got West Green scheduled for a makeup game. And then I'm not sure yet. We actually haven't had our meeting yet for our conference, our coaches meeting, so we're not sure exactly what date we'll start our district tournament at, but it could be Friday. So I'm not sure about when we would get that game in. Me and Coach Armstrong at Chucky Doak have mentioned maybe Wednesday. We didn't commit to that because the uncertainty about tomorrow against Cloudland. If we get rained out tomorrow, we'll definitely have to play that Cloudland game next Wednesday. So I wanted to leave that open just in case. And then also just not sure the seeding for their tournament for Chucky Doak and West Greens. And me and Coach Hahn had talked about our makeup game with them, maybe moving it to Wednesday. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think me and Coach Armstrong are going to talk a little more on Monday and see if we can work out Wednesday or not as that makeup date.
Cool. So that's the update for now. We'll hopefully have another update for that next week. But that's all the games we've had to cover. Finished up 4-0 last week. Picked up a win to start this week. Now you've got Cloudland once again. You travel on the road to play them Thursday at 5 and then get Greenville on the road Thursday at 5:30 also before you jump into next week. So we'll go ahead and cut to a break first. Talk about those right after this break. So stick with us. See you in just a minute here on Grassroots Media.
My name is Robert Starnes. I'm a lifelong resident of Northern Greene County, where I currently reside here with my wife and 3 children. I was a barber in Greenville for the last 6 years, but I have recently changed locations to my new shop in Baileyton. It's at 285 Mortis Hollow Lane, Afton. I'm also a proud supporter of North Greene Athletics. Come see me for all of your men and boys grooming needs. Go Huskies!
Baileyton Drug Company services the surrounding communities of Baileyton with excellent patient care using a full-line pharmacy, over-the-counter selections, and a convenient drive-thru. When you visit us, you are treated as a neighbor, not a number. It's not just our slogan, but our culture. We're investing in our patients, local schools, and community. For over 5 years now, we have established ourselves as an independently family-run pharmacy that isn't driven by corporate goals. We are driven by what is best for your overall health and wellness. We're conveniently located so you don't have to make the drive. Prescription drugs are just the tip of the iceberg. We also offer natural remedies, essential oils, at-home medical needs such as walkers, rollators, bath accessories, as well as wound care products. And coming soon, basic urgent care services. What makes us better than other drugstores out there? When you frequent Baileyton Drug, you will receive professional, courteous, and friendly service that goes above and beyond any other pharmacy in the area. Remember, you're a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Avery Weems Show, presented by Starnes Barber, where we cover everything on the field with the North Greene Lady Huskies softball team. As always, joined here with head coach Avery Weems. We need to get into Starnes sometimes. Girlfriend's telling me my hair is too long, so we need to sit down and do an interview.
There you go.
How often do you go to Starnes Barbershop to get a haircut?
Well, I don't go as often as I probably should. I've always been the type that I let my hair get way too long before I cut it. And
I'm the same way.
Usually whenever my wife tells me I need a haircut, is whenever I go.
See, that's how I am. So I'm getting told I need one, so we may need to go in there soon. So Robert, if you're watching this, expect a phone call soon. We're looking at the slate ahead. You've got 2 games the remaining part of this week. You go to Cloudland, but at Hampton High School. You are at Greenville. Of course, you could stay in the county, so a little short road trip over there. And then the beginning part of next week, you host Cherokee Monday at 5, and then you go to Unaka for your last conference game of the year, Tuesday at 5 o'clock in that one. So, again, schedule's packed once again. You've got West Greene that you kind of alluded to later on in the week also that we'll kind of hold off on. But it's still there as the last regular season game of the year. Don't know the Chucky Doke, but the games that you do know, take me through them and what you expect.
Yeah, so we go to Hampton on Thursday tomorrow to play Cloudland.
Yeah.
And we know what we're going to get with Cloudland. Cloudland's a good team. Cloudland, they've had a good year, and they've played some really hard competition. And I know their record's probably not as good as what you're accustomed to seeing from them, but it's because they played just a gauntlet of a schedule. And we know they're a good team. They're athletic. They've got some good players. We're going to have to bring our A game to beat them. And just like always, if you're going on the road and making an hour drive somewhere, that's just another layer to it. So we'll have to be ready to play and bring it that day. And then Greenville on Friday, you mentioned. Greenville's another good team. Greenville, I think, scored 23 runs. First time we played them, they hit it really well. And if you look at some of their scores, that's pretty much the standard for them. They score about every game. And we know against them they'll put it in play. We'll have to make all the plays on defense, and we'll have to have good at-bats ourselves to even have a chance. So that's kind of what to expect there. We'll have our hands full, but we certainly expect to build on, I guess, what we did last time. I think last time they beat us 23-10. So you want to see improvement there, and you want to play good and have a chance to win. And that's what we just know we've got our hands full. After that, you said
We got Cherokee Monday.
Cherokee, yep. Cherokee on Monday, we played them first game of the year at Cherokee. I think we won 11-4, and then we come back to get them right here at the end. That's our senior night, so that'll be exciting, and I'm sure the girls will be ready for that. And it's always nice too to play somebody that you haven't played in a long time, because you get to kind of see how you've grown from the first time you've played them. So that'll be big for us. And then Tuesday we go to Unaka. That's going to be a tough game. Unaka's, for years, they've been one of the powerhouses, I guess, in single A around here. Just a good team in our conference year in and year out. And I was telling you, I think they're playing a little better now. I seen that they took Cloudland to the wire last night. I think they lost to Cloudland 5-4 in 9 innings. So I'm sure they'll be ready to play, and we'll have to bring our best to beat them as well.
2 questions I've got for you, the remaining part of this interview. One that I should have asked in the first half. You get that big win over Cloudland on Thursday night that pushes you to 4-0, which puts you in the driver's seat to be the number 1 seed going into the tournament. At this moment, being 4-0, of course, you've got Cloudland tomorrow night that will give you the opportunity to go 5-0. How comfortable are you with your standing within the conference right now at 4-0?
You don't want to get too comfortable, because that's whenever bad things can happen. It can avalanche on you, and you just don't want to take it for granted. Talking about the Cloudland game, we know going into tomorrow that's a game to clinch our conference. If you win that game, you've clinched the number 1 seed. So that'll certainly be a talking point about just how big of a deal it is. So we've got to come ready to play and just make sure we're prepared and bring our best tomorrow. And then, like you said, we round out the year against Unaka there. It would be really nice to have a perfect 6-0 conference record, but we're just going to take it one game at a time, starting with Cloudland tomorrow.
And then the last one I have, looking at Monday's game against Cherokee, you talked about that being senior night. I always like to talk about the seniors before senior night, going into it and leading up to it. I know you don't have a very senior-laden team. You've only got very few on the team this year, and they've been with the program for a while now. I know you've only been the head coach. This is your first year now. You've been around them for a little bit as an assistant coach. Talk about those seniors and everything that they've contributed to the North Green Lady Huskies program.
Yeah, so I'll start with Jordan Marr. Last year was my first coach, I guess, with the first year coaching with the program. I helped Dad, and I was an assistant last year. And I've been around Jordan a lot for 2 years now. And Jordan's just, you can't say enough good things about her. Just not only on the softball field, but just all around. I know she's a great student. She's a great kid. She's involved in band. I know she's going to University of Tennessee to college, and I think she's going to participate in the band there. So Jordan's just a great kid all around. Then she's made some big plays for us on the softball field. Last year may have been her first year playing for North Green. She was kind of thrust into immediate playing time in some big games, and she was an integral part of some big wins, had some big hits, and Jordan's just somebody you can rely on. Not only if it's a game, but like she's going to show up and do things the right way. She's really intelligent. She's a leader. Just so much to brag about with Jordan. The other one will be Lauren Blevins. Lauren, I guess been around her as a coach 2 years. I remember whenever I used to come over here and watch my sister Anna play. Lauren was, I guess, a sophomore and freshman on those teams, so I've seen her play even before last year. But Lauren's been a great piece of our program, and I know she's another one of them where it's not just the softball field. She had a great year on the basketball court. She's involved in some other things, and I'm sure she's going to go on to college and further herself too. And she's one of them that kind of sets the example, sets the standard. Just another great leader for our program. She knows what to expect. She knows what we expect of them, and she's just somebody good for the younger girls to look up to. And on the softball field, she's made some really big plays for us. I don't know if you remember, but a couple years ago, we won this sub-state game here. Lauren made a diving play to end the game. I think running from second base over there behind first, kind of near the fence, made a diving catch to end the game. So that was a huge moment for her and for the team. She's also had some really good at-bats this year and last year, just some big hits for us and big moments, especially early in the season whenever it was kind of taking us a while to get going. Lauren started off really hot, and that carried us through some of those early games. So Lauren's just, like I said, just been a great piece of the program, and we hate to see her leave the program.
Shout out to Lauren also, because I think that play in that sub-state game might be still to this day the most viewed video we've had on the grassroots media platform. So yeah, she can hold claim that she's had the most views across all grassroots media platforms.
Nice.
But Monday at 5 o'clock, you can come out and watch those girls here at home at North Green High School against Cherokee and honor them on senior night. Hopefully it's not the last home game either. Yeah, hopefully you get West Green. Hopefully you still get some playoff games also.
Yeah.
Even though it's senior night, that never means it's truly the last time you play on your home field. Hopefully get some more games going down the line. But playoffs are right around the corner. I'm excited about it. We've got a little bit left in the regular season. So go out there, win some more games. Let's talk about some more wins next week.
All right.
As always, appreciate you for joining me. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Baileyton Drug Company Avery Weems Show, presented by Starnes Barber. Look forward to seeing you next time here on Grassroots Media.